Members, any other questions?
Chairman Bishop, Vice Chair, and members of the Ways and Means Committee, my name is Patti-Rae, and I'm here to speak to you in support of HB 146 being sponsored by Representative Hilferty and Representative Moore. In October 1988, as he was proclaiming October as National Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month, President Ronald Reagan was quoted saying, "When a child loses a parent, they are called an orphan. When a spouse loses his or her partner, they are called a widow or widower. When parents lose their child, there isn't a word to describe them." On December 10th, 2014, my husband and I unexpectedly became nameless. My story is not much different from other women who have experienced the loss of their precious babies, and I am grateful for the opportunity to share mine. For 33 weeks, I experienced a healthy pregnancy with no complications other than typical pregnancy discomfort. The fact that I could even say I was pregnant in itself was a miracle due to pre-existing health diagnosis of infertility. Not only was I pregnant, we were able to conceive naturally, which we thought would not be possible without medical intervention. In September 2014, at 20 weeks pregnant, we found out that we would be having a boy, and we decided to name him Evan. We began decorating his nursery and buying every cute outfit I could find with a bow tie. We started imagining the baseball games and the fishing trips. Would he have red hair like mine, or black hair like his dad, olive skin, or ghost white like his mom? Would he be laid back like his dad or high-strung like me? So many thoughts and dreams of what our precious Evan would be like. My husband and I attended every prenatal class and prepared for our bundle of joy. We knew everything to expect and what we needed to do with the car seat, when to go to the hospital, how to pack the diaper bag, and the list goes on. We were prepared for everything, or so we thought. Evan was never a big mover, and so I tried not to worry too much when I didn't feel him kick the way I expected. I was 33 weeks and figured he was just running out of space. On December 6th, we celebrated my husband's birthday with family, and my gut was telling me that something was wrong, but I didn't want to take away from celebrating my husband. I drank coffee and Coke to get Evan moving, but I felt nothing. My motherly instincts were telling me something was wrong, but I brushed it off as anxiety. On Monday morning, December 8th, I decided to call labor and delivery to find out how often I should be feeling Evan kick. When I told the nurse I wasn't feeling him move as often as she mentioned, she advised I come in to be monitored. I called my husband and told him not to worry, it wasn't a big deal, and I would have my mom come with me. I feared the worst, but everything was going to be all right. I was taken in to be monitored, and the nurse came in to set up. She struggled to pick anything up, and I knew that something was wrong. She had the high-risk doctor come in to do an ultrasound. I turned my head away from the screen in fear of seeing the worst. I laid there crying, holding on to my mom's hands. I heard the doctor turn the ultrasound off, and in the silence, I knew. Before she even had the chance to say the words, I looked at her and said, "He's gone?" All I could do was scream. Not just any kind of scream, but a scream that felt like it could break through glass and tear down walls. This couldn't be true. I cried out to the nurse that this had to be wrong because he has a name. He has a room decorated and waiting for him. His diaper bag is packed. He is our miracle. He is loved and wanted. We've done everything right. But unfortunately, no matter how prepared we thought we were, there was no amount of preparation that could prepare us for this. Later that day, I was induced, and I remember lying in bed thinking about how would we pay for everything. I just found out my son died, and I'm having my parents and my siblings call my employer to check on insurance. Would insurance cover this? The next day, December 9th, I began having really strong contractions, and I heard the dreaded words, "It's time." For most women, these are words of excitement, but for me, I knew once I delivered Evan, I would not get to keep him. As long as he was inside me, I still had him. I remember looking at my mom and saying, "I can't do this, and I don't want to." My mom looked at me and said, "You are Evan's mom, and sometimes we have to do things for our kids that we don't want to do." And this is that moment. With those words resonating in my mind and with the support of my husband and mom by my side, our sweet Evan was born at 12:09 a.m. on December 10th. He was much smaller than expected, weighing only 2 pounds 11 ounces, but he was beautiful. It was not until delivery that we discovered that the cord was wrapped around his body, and that is what caused his death. Leaving the hospital without my son in my arms was rough. I had already envisioned what leaving the hospital would look like, and this was not what I envisioned for my family. All I wanted was to hold my son in my arms like all of the other mothers. Instead, I held on to a stuffed lamb that my mom and aunt bought me to fill my empty arms. During pregnancy, my body went through many changes emotionally and physically, and none of that went away with Evan. Unfortunately, the milk still came, even though I had no child to feed. The stretch marks are still there, even though the child that once was held inside is gone. My need to nurture and mother was still there, even though I have no child to hold, clothe, or teach. Although I had no child to care for, I still needed to take 6 weeks leave to allow my body to recover. I spent those 6 weeks researching and looking for resources to find that I was not alone. I was disturbed and angry with what I found. I discovered resources that other states and countries have that we were not provided in Louisiana. My heart longed for recognition of his existence. Why could other people get financial support for their empty nurseries or certificates acknowledging their child existed, but I couldn't? All I had was a box of pictures taken by the nurses and a death certificate. How could he have a death certificate without having a birth certificate? I decided then that I wanted to be a part of changing that. I wanted to make a difference and make Evan's life matter. Since losing Evan, I have organized an annual bear drive and supplied bears to local hospitals so that mothers don't have to leave the hospital's empty arms. I also returned to school to obtain my master's degree in counseling so that I can provide counseling services to families experiencing loss. And I've also published my own research on depression symptoms among stillbirth mothers. Losing Evan has been the toughest thing we have had to go through. We didn't just lose our son, we lost all of the dreams we had for him as well. The questions we had during pregnancy about his appearance and personality will never be answered. We have had good days and we have had rough days, but I say there is no such thing as a bad day because nothing can be worse than what we've already been through. There isn't a day that goes by that we don't think about and miss him. We speak his name and we tell his story to keep his legacy alive and hopefully help others. Passing this bill will not only provide support to stillbirth families, more importantly, it will give recognition to our babies. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak about something that is usually kept silent, but more importantly, thank you for allowing me to share Evan's story and recognize his unlived life.
Thank you, ma'am. Representative Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really appreciate you all coming forward and having the courage to talk about this, especially so eloquently. It's been well done. My wife had 2 miscarriages before. I can't imagine the difference in time. You know, it was pretty dreadful going through that. So what you've gone through is pretty tough. So, Mr. Chair, at the appropriate time, I'd like to move for favorable passage.
Now would be the appropriate time. The board is clear. In support, Marcia Dimes, Frankie Robertson, Joni Hess, Daniel Rotterman, Elizabeth Harper. Okay, yes, ma'am. Ben Clapper, Katie Corcoran, Tom Custes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you